Hello and welcome to today's video. As you can see, there are no longer gel cells in the rear battery box. They're also missing out of the front battery box. Took them all out. You can see the bottom of the battery box needs a coat of paint. I do have some spray paint. I got to clean it up first. Probably hit it with a wire brush. Get all the chips out and give it a fresh coat of paint. But it looks like what happened is we've had water coming in here, and there's a pad that goes in between, that plastic pad that goes between the batteries and the bottom of the battery box. And it looks like water's been getting in between the two and caused the paint to just kind of peel up. All four corners do have holes in them, weep holes, so water will not accumulate in the battery pack, in the battery box. But when I put the battery box cover back on, I'm going to definitely have to make some kind of gasket or a seal to prevent water from coming in. There's an opening there where it goes around this pillar that holds the rear of the battery box in. You can see on both sides here. And I'm pretty sure the Nissan Leaf battery modules and the cells would not appreciate getting wet, since they went through an awful lot of trouble to waterproof their battery box. So yeah, gonna go ahead and get that back together, all cleaned up, and unfortunately it's too cold right now in the garage to actually spray paint. It has to get up to about 50, so hopefully the weather will cooperate and I can get that done. But in the meantime, what you probably come here to see, I'm gonna pause it, we're gonna go to the other side of the garage here. I'm trying to avoid showing you the mess that is in the garage. So hold on. So here it is, Nissan Leaf battery pack. I've pretty much pulled out everything I can without having to remove the modules, the module assemblies themselves. So these are unscrewed, they're loose. Got everything out. We've got this bar here in the way. This bar goes across here, and it's torqued really. I had to use the breaker bar to get the bolts to come loose, but that sucker was in there really good. Everything else wasn't too bad, but you can see I've removed all the bolts, so you can actually, if you go from there, you're supposed to lift from these corners, you can actually pick it up. So this whole assembly is loose. So what I'm thinking of doing is just yoinking both of these guys out. This section and this section are going to come out. Probably leave this in here. These are going to go in the front battery box, but that's going to require a bit more work. These should just lay into the rear battery box as is. The only thing is I need 4 rows of 5, or 4 stacks of 5 modules high. So I'm going to try to reuse all of their interconnects and safety covers, and I don't know, like flip it upside down. I don't know. I have to look at how they wired it and figure out how that's going to work, because I do want to reuse all of that and then essentially get it into one block and then put that into the truck. I might just pull the modules out and get that bottom plate off and put that in the back of the battery box just to see how well it fits. So I ended with a lot of parts. These are all the parts that came out of it. A lot of neat. There's a lot of copper in this thing, and some really nice shiny copper bus bars. So you can see there's a bunch of them down in here. We got this is the contactor or the relay for the heater. That thing's huge. I suspect, I mean, just by looking at it, that it just has a relay, kind of like the pre-charge relay down in here, because it looks like it's the same footprint. It wouldn't surprise me if it's the exact same part, but it looks like they got something else in here. So this would be interesting, very interesting to open up, because it might have, it almost looks like there might be a module or something in there. Yeah, I don't know. Be interesting, because the connector's on this side, so there has to be like a circuit board or something inside of this. So they're doing more than just turning on and off a relay. And I'm wondering if, I'm pretty sure the BMS is what reads the temperatures and it just sends a signal over. Although I have had the BMS apart, which is sitting over here, and there isn't any large relays or anything to turn it on. So there's probably a MOSFET or something in here is what they're doing to actually turn it on. So it's just getting a signal from the BMS, and then it turns on the heater relay. So that's cool. Got the whole contactor assembly. I'm wanting to use this as is. That would be really nice. I get it to sit somewhere. There you go. I don't think there's going to be enough room in between my two stacks to fit this. At least not in this orientation. Maybe that way? I don't know. It's not the end of the world. I'm definitely going to use the contactors. I did write the arrows on them. They are directional, so I wanted to make sure current needs to flow from that terminal to this terminal, and from this terminal to that terminal. That's why if you flip them around, you'll see the arrow is the exact same way. These are filled with hydrogen, and I know it seems odd, but the inside of this is ceramic, and it's filled with hydrogen, and there's actually a permanent magnet that when this guy turns off, that permanent magnet directs an arc that forms in the hydrogen, essentially ionizes it, and out to the edges internally to do arc suppression. I'm pretty sure the reason they're doing that is because Tyco owns Kilovac, and Kilovac does, inside of theirs it's a vacuum so that an arc can't form. So they use gas and specifically ionize it on purpose to get it to blow the arc out. And so what happens if you run current the wrong way through it, then rather than blowing the arc apart, it would just continually, the permanent magnet in there will keep the arc going. So these contactors are definitely directional. You want to make sure. Not all of them are, but these Panasonic ones, if you go look up this part number, what is that, AEV 6505A, if you look that up, it does specifically tell you that they are directional. So the arrow is the direction they were using them in the Leaf. I figured they did it right, and we'll just copy that. What other neat things are in here? I got a big fuse. I already have fuses, not planning on using it, but for those that want to know, it's rated at 500 volts, 225 amps, and some connectors, current sense on a nice bit of copper bus bar again, some big cables, some nice, looks like it's probably, it looks really close to 2 gauge, so it's probably the metric equivalent, whatever is really close to metric for 2 gauge cable. There's a couple of those big cables in there. But yeah, a lot of neat little connectors and all kinds of cool stuff. Fuse holders, and tons of nuts and bolts, bits of stuff, and yeah, anyways, it ended up being really cool. All the wiring, but I just threw it all in this box. But yeah, it'd be interesting. I think I'm going to take that apart, see what it is. There might be a separate video on that if people are interested. The other thing I did is, before I did take it all apart, I fired up the old pack sniffer, and I wrote down all of the cells. I did that for both battery packs, so this is, this is this battery pack, and then the second page here in my notes is the other battery pack sitting there. Actually, I still have the pack sniffer hooked up to it. I can show you. I actually changed the code on it to go slower, but go ahead and turn it on here. But you know what? The whole thing is actually really useful. I'll show you here in a sec. But yeah, this pack is still doing pretty good. It's still charged really decently. But you can see there's hardly any difference in the cells. They're all pretty close, and you know, the screen looks a lot better in real life than on the video. I think it's just because it's dark, and there's a lot of light bleed from the backlight on the thing, but it's not in the box because I just threw it out here. That's because I was modifying it. But you can see how slow it's going. I changed it to display the cells really slow so I could write them all down. But anyways, the main reason I did that on this pack is I know one of my cells is bad. Well, maybe not bad, just not tracking as well as the other. Everybody else is like really, really close, except for cell 37, which is 3.931. I mean, everybody's like 93, 94, 94, 93, 94. You know, it's just really close. 90s, high 80s, you know, 89. Everybody's really close except for this guy. He's down by, you know, on average, almost 60 millivolts. So I'm not going to include cell number 37, that module, this module right here. I'm not going to include in the truck. I mean, this thing hasn't been plugged in for a very long time, almost a year, and I just plugged in so it hasn't been balancing. And the fact that this guy's drifted that much compared to everybody else, I'm a little worried about that one. This guy's a little high here at 4.003, but I do have some cells that are up at like, you know, 3.999. So, yeah, like here's one that's 3.999. So I think that's reasonable. But essentially, I need to lose 4 modules out of this group and then another 4 modules out of that group. Turns out that the bad cell is actually in here, cell number 19, I think. So, I think I don't remember which way it counts. I'd have to look it up. But I think this side might be 1. But yeah, I'd have to look it up. So don't use that as good information. But go ahead and I'll go ahead and take this out and try to unwire it and start putting it in the truck and see what it looks like. But anyways, the video ended up being pretty long, so thanks for watching. Bye.